As writers, most of us are pretty smart people, but occasionally we need to write characters who are either smarter than we are or who are just simply really intelligent. And so today we're going to wrestle with some intelligent characters, and I'm going to give you 7 tips for writing them. But before I do, as I am recording this, we just passed 500 subscribers, and that is truly amazing. I am so thankful to all of you for watching and supporting this channel. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing my videos on social media, whether on your own personal feeds or even on online communities. All of those things help others find this channel, and I'm truly grateful to all of you for doing that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, 7 tips for writing intelligent characters. Let's jump in. Nothing pulls me out of a story faster than a character who has been positioned as a really smart or intelligent individual who then makes a really stupid decision, or a bunch of stupid decisions right in a row. Now, as a writer, you work so hard to make your characters smart and interesting, but sometimes as we're writing, we just need our characters to do this instead of that. And as a result, we just have them make a dumb decision to generate the outcome that we're after because we're so focused on the outcome. So to begin, let's point out that this kind of orchestration is what we want to avoid. But my guess is you've run across this problem in your own writing, or you've seen it play out in others' writing, and you want to avoid it, which is great. We do want to avoid this problem. Ultimately, we don't want characters who seem like they are marionettes in our hands. But we want characters who are alive and making their own decisions, choosing their own fate, even though we have actually orchestrated all of those choices for them. But we just don't want it to feel like we've orchestrated all those choices for them. So before we get into the tips, we need to differentiate between what I would call smart characters and what we're talking about here, intelligent characters. We need to differentiate between the two. And an easier way to do this will be to talk about real people for a minute. I mean, real people who are smart have some intrinsic or taught knowledge that just makes them smart. They understand science or mathematics or managing people or any number of things. They just get it. These are the people who are so good at something like woodworking that when you need to figure something out, I mean, you call them. Like you've got to build something, you just call them and ask them because they're really smart with it. These are the people who understand inherently all the facets and nuances of things like economics or literature or even specific skills that maybe you're trying to learn or you just don't even know how to do. These people are the experts. They are really smart. And I'm sure you know people like this, people who are really good at one thing or maybe several things, but being good at one thing or many doesn't necessarily make them good at something else or anything else. I mean, maybe they're just good at the one thing and that's it. We've all had interactions with teachers who we would say are very, very smart. But those same teachers, when outside of their classroom, they just have difficulty navigating life. They have trouble connecting with people. So they have some intellect, right? They have a lot of intellect, but maybe just not in all aspects of their life. And one of the elements I want to point out to you that's going to help us here is the notion of what I would call blind spots. We all have blind spots. All of us, no matter what we're good at, are also not good at other things. We may know that we are smart in some things, but we also should know that we aren't smart in everything. And everyone in our real life and the characters in our stories we write, they all have blind spots. There are things that they are smart with and things they aren't. And while you can have characters who are not smart about anything, okay, that's a very rare case. Most characters are smart with at least one thing. They know how to do at least one thing really, really well. And in this sense, if they are looking at a forest, okay, so they see the forest, they see the trees in the forest. They don't really see the forest. They see the trees. Specifically, they only see the trees that they really understand and are smart in. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the movie Sling Blade or not, but if not, it's a great story, and there's some really great lessons you can learn about story structure and storytelling just by watching that film. But the main character, Carl, is mentally challenged. He has difficulty with a lot of things. He has trouble connecting with people, with navigating life. And before you think, oh, okay, Jake, there's an example of a character who isn't smart. Actually, Carl is very smart when it comes to fixing things. Take him a broken engine of any kind and he can fix it. He's very smart in that. So in this sense, Carl is a smart character, but he's not an intelligent character. Intelligent characters don't have to be smart in one area. Now they might be, but they don't have to be. They are knowledgeable about many things. So they're not like really smart in one thing. They kind of have a broad knowledge of a lot of things. And more importantly, when looking at the forest, they see the forest. They see how all of the trees connect. They see how the ecosystem works, how one change over here in this part of the forest is going to impact the entirety of the forest. So you might have a character who is really smart when it comes to, say, ants, okay, the little insects, little ants. They know more than you or I will ever know about ants. And those characters aren't too hard to write because at their core, they're just obsessed with their smart area. And we all understand obsession, right? We all get it. Now, maybe not with ants, okay, but we understand obsession. We understand what it's like to be obsessed. And because you and I are smart, we can research about ants and we can find the information we need to communicate in our story about ants. I mean, that's just research, and because we're smart, we know how to do research. So this smart character obsessed with ants, okay, we can write them. That's a little easy to write. But the intelligent character knows there's a village 20 miles away. And this intelligent character, and let's make him a villain because villains are fun to write, this intelligent character needs the village to move so he can gain possession of their land. And for fun, let's set our story in Australia. Australia is a great place. Be sure to visit it when you get a chance, when all this craziness ends and you can travel. Okay, so now the villain can do a few things to make the village move. Okay, so he's intelligent, so he can do a few things. He could hire a group of mercenaries and send them in, but that's probably not going to go well with the government. And, that probably is going to jeopardize his future contracts for what he wants to do with the land. I mean, because, forcibly moving an entire village or murdering an entire village, it's probably not going to go well for him. So he could do that, but he's intelligent. Probably not going to do that. He could also find a way to poison or pollute their water supply, forcing them to move elsewhere for water. But polluted water wouldn't just affect the people. It's going to affect the land and the crops and the animals, which is not an ideal solution for what he ultimately wants. However, the village to be displaced is in a heavy agricultural area where they grow a lot of sugarcane and other plants with high amounts of nectar. Lots of crops are grown, and the locals have worked really hard to keep insects away that would damage the crops that they have. So the intelligent villain, after consulting the smart ant expert, decides to, under cover of darkness, insert a couple of colonies of bulldog ants around the village. Now, if you're not familiar, bulldog ants are native to Australia and they feed on nectar. They are highly protective and territorial, and their sting is incredibly painful and can even be lethal. And the intelligent villain knows that the only things that can really hunt and engage with bulldog ants are a couple of birds, an eastern yellow robin and an Australian magpie. And those birds, they're not in this area. So without firing a single bullet and without spending hardly any money, within 6 months, the crops are infested with bulldog ants. The villagers can't cope, and the village is quickly on the decline. Now our villain can now swoop in with an offer to purchase the remnants of the village for pennies on the dollar. This is the difference between an intelligent character and a smart character. A smart character knows about the ants, but the intelligent character knows how to use them and how they will impact the grander scheme of things. So as we talk about writing intelligent characters, they are in some ways like you, the screenwriter, doing what you have to do when you write a story. You have to anticipate all the moves ahead of you and plan accordingly. So let me give you some tips for writing intelligent characters, because you usually need at least one or two of them in your story. Most villains are intelligent. Most protagonists are smart. So let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, chess not checkers. Now, please don't mishear me, all of you checkers lovers out there. Checkers can be a very strategic game, and you have to consider how your moves will impact the rest of the game. Of course you do. However, if you're playing checkers, the pieces can only move in one basic direction, diagonally. They can jump other pieces, and even if they become a king, yes, they can move backward, but they can still only move diagonally. In chess, however, you have multiple pieces that all move differently. Some move a space or two at a time. Others move several spaces. They all move and attack differently. And you are combining the pieces and their moves to generate the outcome that you're after. So in this sense, checkers is fairly straightforward, but chess requires different strategies and changing strategies as the match progresses. And your intelligent characters have to be playing chess, not checkers. They know how all the pieces move. They know how to lay traps and manipulate the pieces on the board to their advantage. They know how to evaluate the board and make the right decisions about whether to stick with their original strategy or to change strategies mid-game. And you're like, cool, Jake, I get the metaphor. So how does this actually work in a story? Well, specifically, any intelligent character has to have a way to move the pieces on their board. They have to have some kind of power or influence. I mean, maybe they're the leader of a big organization and have the resources to force things and make things happen. Maybe they're just very skilled at specific tasks, and in doing those tasks, they can force others to react in specific ways. Every intelligent character, every single one, has a way of making others move around the board as they want them to move. Even Hannibal Lecter's quid pro quo with Clarice Starling is a way of beginning to move her around the board. He has no henchmen, okay? He's in some ways powerless. He's in a deep, dark dungeon, but he still has cards to play, and he plays them.
If I help you, Clarice, it will be turns with us too. Quid pro quo. I tell you things, you tell me things. Not about this case, though. About yourself. Quid pro quo. Yes or no? Yes or no, Clarice? Poor little Catherine is waiting.
Tip number 2, the smart cop rule. Now, this one has 2 facets, and the second one is easy to understand once you get the first. So let's deal with the first one. Your character seems more intelligent if they are surrounded by other intelligent characters. Now, most often this is played out in the form of some kind of police or government force, like the FBI, CIA, FSB, MI6, even local police. Okay, so one of the best examples of all of this, though, is in the Bourne movies. Now, we would all probably argue that Jason Bourne is an intelligent character, and on his own, he is. But he also seems really intelligent because the people hunting him are also intelligent. Even the cops are doing the right cop things. There are no bumbling cops or idiotic spies or people who make dumb decisions. Everyone makes smart decisions. Everyone is intelligent, acting intelligently. But because Jason Bourne is always a step or two ahead of all the other intelligent characters, it makes him seem even more intelligent.
There was a girl in Paris. She's part of the program. She used to handle logistics. Alexander Strasse. 30 minutes under the world clock. Send her alone. Give her your phone.
What if I can't find her?
It's easy. She's standing right next to you.
Now, what a lot of writers will do, though, is they try to manipulate situations by giving their hero a way out of a difficult predicament by having someone else make a bad decision. But all this does is it makes the cops out to be dumb. And no. Make them smart. The cops don't always have to be steps ahead, but they have to be light on their feet. They have to move quickly. They have to do the right thing at the right moment. And what makes the Bourne movies so good with this is that if the cops are chasing Jason Bourne, and they often do, there's almost always another elite agent chasing him at the same time. And Bourne recognizes the difference. He can outwit the cops, although he's going to have to work hard to do it because they're smart. But he's going to have to work extra hard to outwit the other intelligent agent. Now, what this does is it allows you to turn the screws on your characters and make things more difficult for them because their opponents are smart and even intelligent. And as a result, the opposition to your intelligent characters has to be capable of beating them. And this is where the second facet of the smart cop rule comes in. Intelligent characters never underestimate their opponent. They are never surprised by what happens because that opponent is intelligent and they recognize the intelligence, so they don't underestimate them. They put things in place as backup plans and then backups to the backups. They can change strategies mid-course. Why? Because they never underestimate their opponent. They are willing and able to change all their strategies midstream when an intelligent opponent seems to get the upper hand. But they never underestimate their opponent. Tip number 3, and we've alluded to this already, intelligent characters are always more steps ahead. Because intelligent characters don't underestimate their opponents, they have already planned for contingencies. If things go right, and if things go wrong. So obstacles don't stop them, they just delay them. Or maybe they planned on those obstacles in the first place. Now what this means is intelligent characters are master anticipators, and they plan for all contingencies. This is why intelligent bad guys in films are hard to beat. Everything the hero can do to stop the bad guy's already thought of it and planned a way out accordingly. So the good guy thinks he's ahead because maybe he captures the bad guy. But what if the bad guy wanted to be captured?
Why would a Starfleet admiral ask a 300-year-old frozen man for help?
Because I am better
At what?
everything.
Simply, they always have more options to draw from, and they always have cards to play. And the only way to beat an intelligent character is to slowly remove their options. So if their opponent can somehow outlast all the options or remove all the options that are left to the intelligent character, only then will the intelligent character be defeated. This is when they get put into a corner. So if you have a character fighting against an intelligent character and then beating them head on, okay, your intelligent character now seems stupid at best, or at least like they're going against their own character that you've worked so hard to set up, and you don't want that. The only ways to defeat intelligent characters are to, 1, outlast them till the intelligent character runs out of options. Okay, so this is when a smart or resilient character is facing off against an intelligent character, and you just kind of have to they have to outlast them till the intelligent character runs out of options. Or 2, you have another intelligent character slowly remove the options and force that hand. So if you've got an intelligent character facing off against another intelligent character, this is typically what happens. They just slowly remove the options of the other intelligent character until they have to have a showdown. Writing intelligent characters, tip number 4, intelligent characters have self-discipline. Intelligent characters only got that way because of self-discipline. They have codes, they have rules, they have routines, they have perseverance and commitment at a level that normal people don't. The thing is, intelligent people, they don't play at being intelligent. They are fully committed to their cause or goal or whatever they're after, whether it's to steal the gold or prevent others from stealing the gold. They have put in the work and the time to prepare for everything, and they set the chessboard in their favor to win. So think about screenwriting for a second. For you to get good at this craft, you have to work at it. You can't play at it. I mean, you kind of can, but you aren't going to see results very quickly, if at all. You have to work at it. You have to read about screenwriting. You have to read screenplays. You have to write a lot and write some more. You have to learn about the craft, the tools available to you. Maybe you take a class. Maybe you join a writing group. Maybe you go to a university for a degree. And you have to have loads and loads of self-discipline because there will be plenty in your way who try to dissuade you from pursuing your passion for screenwriting. So you aren't going to find motivational speeches helpful for that long. You have to cultivate a spirit of self-discipline. That is the only way you're going to be intelligent when it comes to screenwriting. And that same commitment needs to be integral to any intelligent character you're writing. Without self-discipline, you won't have an intelligent character. Self-discipline is what keeps them on their path, even when others try to knock them off of it. Tip number 5, intelligent characters are students of their enemy, also known as the "you can't plan for John McClane" law. Okay, so intelligent characters set things in motion because they've studied their enemy and they know how the enemy is going to react and respond. In fact, they base their plan on this outcome. They've studied everything. We've worked it out. The plan is foolproof until John McClane interferes.
Now I have a machine gun.
Because you can't plan for John McClane.
You use a gun, I use a fountain pen. What's the difference? Let's put it in my terms. You're here in a hostile takeover. You grab us for some green mail, but you didn't expect some poison pill was gonna be running around in the building. Am I right? Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
Now, intelligent characters are students. They are learners. They welcome advice. They listen when others suggest something better. They know the power of input and how it helps them make better decisions. But they are also resourceful. They study, not just their opponents, but their environment. They know what can help them and what can't.
I'm John McClane. You're, Clay. Bill McClane.
The only thing that trips up intelligent characters are the unexpected moments. So if you're writing an intelligent character, they should know more about their opponent than the opponent kind of even knows about themselves, if that opponent was anticipated. If the opponent was not anticipated, like a John McClane, okay, now the intelligent character will have to rely on their other skills to overcome. The unanticipated opponent will just have to outlast the intelligent character. Tip number 6. There is no random.
Why Naples? Why now?
Could be random.
Zoom in.
Maybe he's running on his own passport.
What is he actually doing?
He's making his first mistake.
It's not a mistake. They don't make mistakes. They don't do random. There's always an objective, always a target.
The objectives and targets always came from us. Who's giving them to him now?
Scary version? He is.
Intelligent characters may seem like they are doing random things, but nothing is random. They are always playing the game, pursuing the goal, setting the pieces in place on the board, moving them around, forcing others to react in specific ways. Now, I've mentioned on this channel that I enjoy soccer. I play, I ref, and I like to watch. Now, I'm not the fastest player when I'm playing. I'm not slow, but I'm definitely not speedy. I've definitely lost a step or two over time. However, I still get opportunities and create opportunities for my team when I'm playing because I do specific things. I mean, sometimes I move to one place on the field to force a defender or two to reposition themselves. And what this does is allow a lane for my teammate to then attack. So if you watch American football or any team sport, really, the same thing happens. A receiver will run a specific route to force the defense to react in a certain way and reposition themselves. But when the running back gets the ball, that portion of the field is open for them to run. And this is what intelligent characters do. They manipulate people to do things that will cause them to react in specific ways. Now, the Ocean's movies are great examples of this one. Regularly, there are characters who are doing specific things to force their marks to react in certain ways. What they're doing is positioning their mark to get into a specific position on the board. And once all the pieces are in the right position on the board, that's when the team strikes. And most heist movies work this way. The protagonist does specific things at specific times to get specific results. And what works best is when the antagonist thinks that their own moves are putting them in a stronger position, when in fact, they are moving exactly where the protagonist wants them to be. Now, before I get into the last tip, please interact in some way. If you are finding value, like, subscribe. If you'd like to help support this channel, a Patreon link is also below. So if you want some cool Big Red Stripe swag, access to my older videos, a few other things depending on your level of support, you can become a patron. But any interaction, I really do appreciate it, and it helps others find this channel and this video. Tip number 7 for how to write intelligent characters. They don't react, they respond. Now, in this sense, they are kind of emotionless. Emotions can make us as people a bit irrational. Okay, you've probably experienced that in your own life where you just get heated and you make a dumb decision. Intelligent characters are never irrational. They are intentional. They are controlled. They respond to problems with solutions to put them in a better position than the one they're currently in. But intelligent characters never react to a problem. They contemplate, they consider, even if it's briefly, and then they respond.
You pack up your team and get out of there.
And this one?
Officer.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna need an answer on that issue.
Let him go.
Understood. Yes, sir.
This is them taking a step back and double checking the chessboard. This is them not underestimating their opponent. This is them planning out their steps so they know they're staying a step ahead of everyone else, if not 3 or 4 or 19 steps ahead. This is them not letting anything personal distract them. This is them absorbing new information into what they know about their opponent. And honestly, this is a life lesson for all of us. I mean, consider for a moment someone you would consider to be wise, and then think if you see them regularly upset about things. Now, yes, they may have been upset about something, and maybe they were really, really hot and frustrated and aggravated, but it was probably in response to defending something that they love or something they feel is vastly important. My guess is that this person you see as wise is rarely like that, though. Most of the time, they're even keel. They're in control. They're watching. They're taking in information. They're trying to make the best decision and trying to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else. They don't react. They respond to situations. And any intelligent character you write should be responding, not reacting. This is also one reason why I personally am not into the whole notion of write one script and sell it kind of hype that a lot of people push to new screenwriters. I mean, that's preying on reaction. And I want you to be wise storytellers for the screen. I want you to be intelligent. I want you to respond. I want you to be thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead. Not with just how can you sell one script, but how can you write stories that matter for a lifetime? How can the next story you tell be better than the one you just finished? How can you become a master storyteller who knows how to navigate any part of the screenwriting process because you aren't in the habit of reacting? You're in the habit of responding. And if that's who you want to become, if you want to become that kind of a screenwriter, my coaching program, the Screenplay Navigator, can help you get there. There's no catchy gimmicks. There's no emotional heartstrings. Just an opportunity for you to change the trajectory of your screenwriting endeavors. So if that's of interest to you, click on the link below to schedule a free call and apply for the Screenplay Navigator. Now, personally, yeah, of course, I'm biased, but I think it's an intelligent choice. And it's a choice that I didn't have when I was learning the craft, that I want to make available for others who have written a few scripts, know you want to keep doing this thing, and know you want to tell stories that matter. If that's you, click the link and let's talk. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. And if it has, please be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all those things. I really do appreciate it. There are other links below that you might find helpful, so be sure to check those out. And when you go to tell a story, especially if you're including intelligent characters, tell a story that matters. See you later.